Welcome everyone to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit 1984's Police Academy. So, take a nice little seat under the podium and get ready for a big surprise. The episode is about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
So, Brian, I'm going to ask one question. Are you sitting in the podium waiting for a surprise?
Under.
Or you're sitting under the podium waiting for a surprise? You should be standing at the podium waiting for a surprise.
Better.
Jesus, you know?
That's better.
Someone needs to rewatch this movie. So, here we are. We are discussing Police Academy from 1984, the first Police Academy. How many are there total? Are there 100 at this point? I feel like there were so many sequels.
6 sequels.
6 sequels? I cannot believe there are 6 sequels.
How many of them have you seen?
I think I saw 2.
Okay.
I don't think I saw many. I think I saw maybe the first sequel and that was it.
Yeah.
We are going to start our episode, as we always do, by delving into our past. Brian, what is your relationship with Police Academy?
Well, I was a teenager, and I've mentioned this many, many, many times, that these sort of sex, farce, comedy things, you watch them, gay, straight, indifferent, because you're looking for boobs. You want to see butts. You want to see full frontal. Mm-hmm. You want to see things that you should not be seeing,
right?
Because
that's why you do
right,
it.
Because you're a teenager. Right? So this movie kind of tricked me, to be honest. I remember being young and really liking it. And there wasn't a whole lot of nudity. There really isn't.
No, there's a couple of little
like
scenes.
shower
scenes, a scene, and then
scene.
And
the fire.
Yes.
The fire.
Yes.
But the movie surprised me being a teenager because I actually enjoyed it. I remember thinking this was pretty funny stuff. And there's so many characters.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong? And just this idea of the big-chested woman that's so powerful and is humorous. There's a lot of stuff. And of course Steve Guttenberg is always funny. When I was a teenager or young, it was probably 13, 14. Yeah, I really like Police Academy. It's funny though, I have never seen any of the sequels.
I don't think we're missing much. I don't know.
So how about you?
How many of the sequels is Steve in?
Probably the first couple.
Maybe a couple, yeah.
But how about you? What was your relationship with Police Academy?
I don't remember when I first saw this movie, but I do remember really liking it. And again, thinking it was super funny.
Yeah.
And loving the whole storyline. And I felt like it had just a little bit more meat than, say, Porky's or something like that. It was, I think, surprising. I think this is kind of what you were thinking, right?
It's really, because I was watching it for a sex farce, boobs and butts thing.
Right, but it actually had a little bit more
a little bit of a story, some interesting characters.
There's some characters that you like, and, it just was a nicer storyline than I expected.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny, and it actually had some heart. Yeah,
I agree.
And when did you rewatch it?
Technically yesterday, during the day.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah.
So funny. And what'd you think? What were your first general opinions on this?
Well, the first things first, this is co-written by Hugh Wilson and directed by Hugh Wilson. Hugh Wilson, this is his directorial debut. He would, many years later, give us The First Wives Club.
No
way! He directed The First Wives Club,
Oh my gosh, we just revisited that not too long ago.
I know, and so this is his first film. And when it started, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I might be in for a little treat here, because the premise is, and it tells you, that the mayor of this unnamed city has decided to loosen the reins of who can be a police officer. So they're welcoming people of all shapes, sizes, sexes, etc.
So I wrote it down. Okay. The new policy, it is not going to discriminate based on height, weight, sex, education, or physical strength.
There you go. And I was like, I'm like, wow, this is kind of groundbreaking for a dumb 80s comedy. And it feels awfully relevant to today. Like, it's like being more diverse. So many companies are aiming to be more diverse. This is perhaps ahead of its time.
Yes. But I was questioning, what are the standards? Is that unusual? Are there real standards?
Why didn't we have Frankie as a special guest? Oh. We are friends with a Boston police officer. He's a really good friend of ours.
And I just saw him last night, actually, too.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Okay, I will invite you to Emily's show next time.
Oh, sorry.
And you best say yes now. 22 acts. 22 acts. Singing, dancing, ballet, young children, older children. She was in 3 of them. 2.5 hours.
Oh, I've been part of that.
But I will absolutely be inviting you next time.
I get it, Christina. I'm busy. Sorry. So anyway, so all that great, interesting premise, right? And then the characters speak. I wrote this note down. I believe this is the most homophobic movie we have ever revisited in the how many years of this podcast? 4.5 years?
4.5, yeah.
Yeah. This podcast, the most homophobic movie we've seen for this podcast. This is my take.
Homophobic, racist,
The
sexist.
only one thing, the thing about the racism. I won't say any of these words.
Right.
But with the racism, there is an understanding towards at one point in the movie that at least it's wrong because
correct.
But the person that steps up is also a black person, which is really not right. And the other thing about that scene, basically Hooks is the very quiet, meek black woman, a recruit, and she is called a very derogatory word, and the guy, the chief, basically is like, "Oh no," and it's not that because the word was said.
No, it was because he knew that the large black man heard it and is ready to
kill.
Yes,
and that's when I was like, "Wow, this is really beyond redemption." I really try and separate things like it's like, "Oh, it's a different time. It's a different time." I mean, Mother of God, this is so atrocious. And what's really interesting is that I did some digging, and it was supposed to be worse. And Hugh Wilson toned it down. Hugh Wilson, that's why he joined the screenwriters in this. He said they probably kept about 20 of the original pages of the screenplay.
Oh my God.
Because the rest of it was so rough, and there was a lot more nudity, a lot more embarrassing sexual situations, mostly involving women. And there are 2 scenes. The horse butt scene, I guess, was much more graphic and gross. And the fellatio at the podium scene was much more graphic and gross. And I
don't think either one of them needed to be more graphic.
Nope, I completely...
It worked better, I think, without... Yeah.
And that is to Hugh Wilson's credit. So as much as I'm going to shit on this movie... spoiler. It just... I give Hugh Wilson credit because he at least trimmed it way down.
Yes.
And I can't even imagine how bad the first draft must have been in the script.
I can't imagine either. Yes, and I totally agree. I don't know if this is a strong statement, but I think it's true. I don't think I've ever been more offended by a movie.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I wasn't expecting, I feel like I'm almost embarrassed for myself because I feel like I should have remembered how offensive it was. Do you know what I mean? So I'm watching this and I'm almost embarrassed for myself to not have picked out how offensive it was back then. My concern about being that pre-offended thing, because I'm like, oh God, here we go, a raunchy 80s comedy. I really thought it was going to be a lot of exploitive towards women. And that's what I was sort of bracing myself for. And that it happened. It's there, yeah. It's there, but not to the degree that I thought it was going to be at. Right.
Yeah. But so that's why the homophobia stuff, the slurs and all that, and the racist stuff was really like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What is this? I mean, a couple of years back, with the when the sort of the how do I Black Lives Matter was on the forefront of everyone's mind.
Sure.
And a lot of old sitcoms, a lot of episodes were getting deleted from their libraries because they were now deemed as racist, racially insensitive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We don't seem to do that with movies. And I think this movie in particular, because Police Academy, I actually had to, it's not on a streamer right now. I actually had to rent it from iTunes. But I do think, wow, a lot of sitcoms got really raked across the coals. There's a lot of movies from the 80s that are just flat out homophobic and racist and sexist that no one seems to talk about.
We
talked about this with Saturday Night Fever.
Yes.
The good guys in that movie were incredibly racist.
Right.
We don't seem to talk about that. And I'm not saying...
And it's a different situation if the bad guys...
Right, exactly. At least they acknowledge that
situation.
it's bad. The thing is, I want to be very clear. I am not saying to censor things. I just find it unusual that a lot of movies were not held under the same microscope as sitcoms. Because one of the... big stories when I talk about the Golden Girls. Because one of the episodes from the Golden Girls was... I believe it was called Mixed Blessings, and it was pulled for a short time. I think has been added back into the library because at one scene, Rose and Blanche have essentially a mud mask on their face, and a black woman doesn't have her glasses on, and she identifies them as black people.
Okay.
And that is what got that episode pulled. Now, it's bizarre to me is because the whole point of that episode is about racial understanding,
right.
Racial equality, loving someone, that love is love, that it's okay for a black woman to love a white man, for a older woman to marry a younger man. It was all about celebrating differences. It was all about that. And you're losing really good messages because of a 10-second moment in a 22-minute episode. And that's my point. This movie is throughout. It's throughout. Especially the homophobia.
So much homophobia.
Jesus. Oh my God. Christina.
Much homophobia.
Well, first, let's talk about the racism. First of all, it's very early on, so all these new recruits are there in the yard. And this guy says to the lieutenant, sure are a lot of spades. Jesus Christ.
I haven't heard that word in decades.
What, seconds before or seconds later, they talk about shooting a horny dog because the dog is named Princess, but he is a male dog and he's humping a man. The Lieutenant Harris wants to dispose of the dog because, quote, he's a queer. He's a queer.
Terrible. It just goes on and on and on. This is the first 10 minutes of the movie.
10 minutes. First 10 minutes. Followed seconds later by Steve Guttenberg pretending to be a lieutenant, going up to Kim Catrall and saying, let's see the thighs. Yep. Let's see the thighs.
It's so offensive. Over and over again.
This movie is I don't know how hard up Kim Catrall was at that time to be this seems like a movie I'd want to make.
She didn't seem that into it, to be honest.
No.
If we want to talk about her performance. It seemed a little bit phoned in. Not a great performance by Kim. Her voice was weird in a lot of it. Very calm and slow.
Well, she's supposed to be wealthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, her wealthy voice.
Yeah.
But she's, very lackluster.
Yeah.
I didn't even really get that she liked him or why.
How about when she's like, do you want to go for a walk? And the next thing you know, they're making out. I'm like, that, I understand it from his character. I didn't understand it from her character.
No, it was weird.
He's cute, though. I mean, again, going back to Cocoon, which, what a stretch for Steve Guttenberg. Cocoon in this movie.
Yes.
He is the same character.
Yep.
A peeping Tom who is girl crazy and horny to a fault. But he's also a peeping Tom.
Yes.
He's spying women in the shower, just like in Cocoon. He spied on that woman changing.
Yep.
What is going on in an 80s Steve Guttenberg agent agent, like, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily blame him. The agent saying, "Oh,
It's
you
like,
know,
oh,
this
calls
is
for
the
a peeping
second
Tom. Let's call
time.
Steve.
Yeah, this is the second time you've played a peeping Tom. Any concern about this, Steve?"
And it's
Like-
for laughs.
Completely.
At least
Completely.
Cocoon, it wasn't necessarily for laughs. It was just
Yeah.
creepy.
Well, you know, actually, Christina, I don't. Wait a second. I respectfully disagree, because I don't. It was for laughs when Lieutenant Harris.
True. Oh my gosh,
showed
you're
up.
right. You're right.
This was
I
par for the.
agree.
This
Yep.
was that. What I'm talking about is he's watching the girls in the shower, and it's par for the course. He has a Budweiser in his hand, and he's just sitting there drinking, watching the women shower. It's only a joke when he hands the bottle to Lieutenant Harris and walks away, and the girls notice
just get
Lieutenant
him,
Harris, and they start screaming. That's when it becomes a joke.
That's
the rest
true.
of it's like a totally normal thing.
He's just sitting there watching.
Yeah.
That's it.
Typecasting for Steve Guttenberg, I wrote.
Yep.
And let's talk about some of the characters. I think, two of them.
Okay.
I liked Hooks, and I liked, weirdly enough, I liked Tackleberry.
He's hilarious. He's so good.
He is so good. He gets the assignment. He is way too gun crazy, way too excited about blowing people away and enforcing the crime. But what's funny is, I think Lieutenant Harris is as deranged as he is.
Yes.
But it's Lieutenant Harris that has a problem with Tackleberry. It's like, no, you should be thrilled.
You would love him.
Your argument is all these people aren't good at this. Tackleberry's amazing at this.
Exactly.
Oh,
I
it makes
thought
no
he was.
sense.
Yeah.
No sense. Tackleberry is probably the best thing in Police Academy.
I love him too. I think he was really, really good too. And Hooks was the black lady.
Yeah,
Yes.
who was like very mousy and meek, and I thought she was good. I liked her a lot.
She was really cute. Yeah, I liked her too.
And then some of the characters got a little confused because I wrote this. So wait, there's two clumsy people? Because remember, it's Fackler with his wife, and his wife is what? From Angie.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Prescott.
She was also in Welcome Back, Kotter, I believe.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was funny, although the stunt double was so bad. I mean, a mile away you can tell it's not her. But Fackler is the character that goes to the police academy, and the big thing is he's clumsy.
But you don't see it until, like, the only time he's clumsy is when she's saying you're clumsy.
Yes, and
he did one thing. I think he pushed something down the stairs, right? But
he
that was
pushed
it.
the guy with the voices.
But that was it.
Yes, and because I also wondered if there was maybe a scheduling issue with the actor, because there was that guy Barbara, like the cadet.
Yep.
And suddenly he was just clumsy. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought Fackler was the clumsy one. Barbara's like the mousy, like sort of girly one.
Right.
Right. That they threaten with homophobic, actions and all that, which is always nice. The only time I really laughed out loud in this movie was because of Tackleberry. He was that actor. I didn't write his name down.
He was great. He
very
really
committed.
was great.
I was shocked though at this movie for being as homophobic as it is. The Blue Oyster Club.
Not too bad.
Not as atrocious as I was fearing.
Was nervous.
And I remembered it very well.
I was nervous,
Yeah.
and I'm like, ugh, because already I'm offended by this movie in the first, of course, 5 seconds. And then I remembered the plot point, right? Like, I remembered that, tell him it's a gay club or whatever. And they walked in, and I'm like, oh no, how are they going to handle this? This isn't good.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, like the guys just kind of went along with it.
They just wanted to dance with them.
Yeah.
So,
and the bad guys went along with it, which is even like more bizarre.
Yeah, it was an interesting, for this movie, it was interesting. You would have thought it would have been a lot worse.
A lot worse. Maybe that was on the cutting room floor. Maybe that was in the old script.
Maybe.
You never know.
Yeah.
1 hour and 2 minutes in, I paused it and I wrote it down. There is an entire sequence, I don't know if you caught this, where they're in a car and their mouths are not moving, but there's dialogue.
No way, I missed it.
No one caught this? Well, clearly you didn't.
I did not catch it. I might have been just writing furiously about all of my offenses.
It's Mahoney, so it's Steve Guttenberg and Lieutenant Harris, I believe, and they're driving, and you can see them driving clear as day. There's dialogue, and I'm like, maybe they're not. Maybe this isn't when the dialogue's happening, but no, he's like he slams on the brakes and he's like, "Why'd you stop the car?" And their mouths still aren't moving. I'm like, oh, this is
so
bad. This is very weird. Yep, very weird.
Wow.
Next note. They're really milking this Winslow guy for all that he's got with these sound effects.
So what was funny about him is one of my first notes was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about the sound effect guy.
Oh, he was the thing I remembered most.
Yeah, I remembered it after. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about this guy. But I remember him being hilarious when I first saw it. And, unique.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little bit overdone this time around.
I honestly felt bad for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, all they're using him for is sound effects.
That's
he doesn't have one character trait.
No.
The sound effects are impressive.
Very
Still
impressive.
Super impressive to this day.
Yep.
But give the guy...
Just give him a couple lines or something.
Give him a couple lines. Give him a trait.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, he's the sound effects guy. That's his character.
And that's what I wrote. Sound effects guy. That's all I wrote.
Sleepings for fags. Get that one?
Yeah, that was nice.
Followed shortly by, how you doing, Mahomo?
Mahomo. That's unique.
Yep.
That's original.
Yep.
I did say at the beginning, I'm like, this police academy. So, Steve's character he gets into trouble all the time. You get the sense that he gets arrested all the time, right? Because he's back. So his friend, the chief Reed or whatever, is like, you have to go to the police academy. Aren't they checking for, like, police records? Like, is that really the smart choice to send him to the police academy? I thought that was a little odd.
Yeah.
And the other thing about this is he cannot quit, but he can get thrown out.
Yeah.
So why doesn't he just stay in his room all day and not do anything? They throw him out because they can't go anywhere. He can't do anything.
No, but remember, there's that other part where, like, don't they want them all to he says, don't
yes,
throw them
so
out
on the
because...
other side, yes. On the other side, that's true. But if this guy does not do anything...
They don't care. I think they want this to fail. They want this program to fail. And then we're supposed to believe that he's fallen madly in love with Kim Catrall.
Just because she flashed her thighs.
That's right. Yeah, bad. I can't believe she did that. Like, she did what... Oh, my God.
I know. And why? Why did she do that? Did she have a conversation with him beforehand? I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
Very, very crazy. They did make a mistake. Excuse me.
Only one?
Well, I'm sure there's many. I caught one. At the beginning, they're saying it's 14 weeks. It's a 14-week training.
Yes, and then they say what?
And then the commander said 24 weeks.
That's right.
I'm like, no, it's 14.
Right.
They said it several times that it's 14.
Yep.
So that was funny.
Little glitch there. I laughed. I did laugh. I laughed with the riot when they're like, now, stay back, everyone. When I count to 5, I want you all to step away from the car. 1, 2. Like they don't. I laughed at that. In fact, I did like George Gaines from Punky Brewster. He's the guy that gets the blowjob at the podium.
Excuse me, I have a problem.
I did like him. I kind of liked his character. And
I
liked
really
his
liked him too. He's my favorite character.
Okay.
Because I just felt like, I don't know, he just seemed real to me. Like, he's just so tired of his position. Yeah. He knows he has no real authority.
He likes his goldfish.
He's just sort of there. Yeah. He doesn't really want to be too involved. He's trying, but he doesn't, whatever. He's just kind of there. I thought he was funny.
And yet, he is also a smidge homophobic.
Very homophobic.
Because he says when he sees, so now he does think through misunderstanding that it was Steve Guttenberg's character that gave him the blowjob.
Yes.
And then...
But he wasn't, like, his reaction wasn't like,
ew. If Ace Ventura, he would have been throwing up in the...
Exactly. Yeah, he just sort of was like, oh. It almost makes you feel like he's like, oh, it wasn't so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you almost feel a glimmer of hope in that character until the end.
When he says, that's more like it, Mahoney. When he sees Mahoney kissing Kim Cattrall's character.
Yes. And he says something offensive before that. Doesn't he say something like, men? Like, doesn't he say something like, he says something about men. And then he sees Kim Cattrall and he's like, okay, that's more like it.
Yeah.
Because Matt actually was like, wow, he said something to the effect of like, wow, this is really homophobic.
It is so ear-piercingly homophobic.
Yes. Terrible. Oh, and that, the Punky Brewster guy, What's his name again? Baines?
George Gaines.
Gaines.
That's the actor's name.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. So, when they're talking, he did say, like, under his breath, well, so he's like, I'm trapped. Like, basically, because Steve was like, I gotta, kick me out. He's like, so now I'm trapped. And he goes, yeah, we all are. So I kind of give it to that, but that was funny.
Jeez. Let's see. So we are to believe that Guttenberg and Catrall are a couple. They're in love. That is why they're staying.
Yep.
They want to be assigned together. This is the start of a new life together. They're madly in love. Christina, just keep me honest here. Mm-hmm. What does the rule of relationships say when you get a blowjob from a hooker?
That would be probably
cheating. Is that cheating?
I would say that might be a deal breaker. But you know what? But if you didn't pay for her, maybe it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if somebody gifts her to you.
Yeah. I wasn't sure because this movie has a sort of clouded judgment on that idea. Yeah. We're supposed to be totally rooting for them and the true love and the big kiss and all that. And but 1 minute later, he is getting a blowjob from a hooker and he has a smirk on his face. Yeah. Like he can't wait for it. So
that was unbelievable. I'm like,
kind
what the
weird,
hell?
Just a little weird on that.
Just a little. I did say Steve looks really good without a shirt.
Oh, he's hot in Cocoon too.
He looked really good in that shirt. I never thought he was hot. I never consider him hot.
Oh, I think he's so.
But he did look
cute.
good without a shirt.
Super cute, Steve Guttenberg. Let's see. Yeah, so the only personality trait Larvell Jones has is what? Yeah.
I did find that Callahan, the woman,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think she was as scary as I used to think. She used to be terrifying. Like, so tough and, like, super scary. But I'm like, actually, she's pretty.
She's almost giving me Faye Dunaway.
Oh, a little bit. I could see that.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked her.
I liked her.
And she wasn't used as gratuitously as I remembered. Maybe that happens in other. Maybe I did see sequels and I remembered it from other things. But maybe. I remembered her being like a little misused to a misogynistic degree. Yeah. But if anything, she actually has some power in this movie, which is nice to see.
Yes, that is nice to see.
Christina, believe it or not, I have no more notes about the plot or the actual movie. I have some trivia and I have a match game.
All right, I have a few notes.
Let's hear it.
Steve asks Kim, "Why do you want to be a cop?" I like to dress like a man.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm like, what?
No, that's not why you want to be a cop. Did you read the script? You want to help people. You said that to your mother.
It's so crazy. Like the dialogue in this movie is so awful.
And
then the animal cruelty I did not like.
The birds.
The cat in the tree.
Oh, right.
He just shoots the cat out of the tree. The horse, of course.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. The birds, some of those birds looked like they had died. And I'm pretty sure they were real birds.
Probably.
Yeah. And that was in the riot scene.
I did notice, I'm surprised you did not point this out. When Hightower wants to learn how to drive, they take one of the other guys. No, they take out the seats, all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. But they're driving around crazy. Neither one of them are wearing a seatbelt.
Seatbelt, right. Well, they did rip the seats out, right? And what I noticed more about that movie is how bad Steve Guttenberg's acting is in that movie.
Yeah.
And in that scene. He's really bad in that scene. Like, he's like, whoa, you could slow down a little. Like, it's like, not convincing at all. Yeah. It was actually kind of weird. And Bubba Smith, I couldn't quite tell what was going on with him. He was so stoic the whole damn movie. There
was no expression on his face
even when he's angry.
All.
It's like he's just like this big guy. Like, is that the joke? He's just a big guy.
Just a big guy.
I absolutely remembered that when he pulls the rope out of the ceiling. Like, I remembered that like it was yesterday.
Yes. Oh, that was funny. Yes. I did like Barber, the chubby guy at the beginning. I did like him. I thought he was cute and like very likable. I felt really bad at the beginning. I thought it was a little bit overdone when they're tipping over the Kodak thing and tipping.
I hated that.
I thought that was bad. And I'm like, oh my God, like it gave me anxiety.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna kill this man? Like, is that what they wanted? They want to kill him? He's gonna drown? Like, how is he gonna get out of that thing? And all of that film destroyed.
Floating in the river.
So sad. But I liked that he was like, I'm gonna become a police officer. And I liked when he became that and bumps into them again.
Yep.
And beats the shit out of them, which was so cute and fun. Obviously not realistic.
But then they
and
said...
then that made me laugh. I forgot about that. And he's like, I want you to take all this furniture back in. They're like, but it's our furniture. We're moving. That was great. And just like him walking away, it made me feel good when he was walking away with that pride. I liked that character. And even when, he's being bullied by like the two other cadets about trying to get like where, figure out where the party was or whatever. He was like cute in that too. He's like, I felt bad for him because he's being bullied, but then he's just like, yeah, somebody asked me to ask you. And I don't know, I just liked him. Yeah. I just thought he was a good character.
If you're just joining us, Christina shared that Police Academy is one of her favorite movies. You clearly loved it.
No, I liked him, though.
Homophobia and all.
Well, that was my favorite part, the homophobia. I thought it was odd that they're calling cadets to be called to a riot, but then they do say, like, it's to do the, like, ushering people out.
Yes, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
it kind of needed to happen. Like, you had to have some moment like that. What I did laugh at is when he throws the apple and hits the guy in the head.
Oh, that was funny. He starts the whole thing. He starts the whole thing.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That was funny.
Fackler.
But I will say, like, the riot really didn't sit well with me at all. And this is a middle-aged lens. Middle-aged lens. This is a middle-aged lens for sure. Just made me feel really uncomfortable with everything that's happened in the past few years. Mm-hmm. I didn't find it entertaining or funny. I wanted it to end. I just didn't like it at all.
I felt so bad for the guy with the furniture store.
Yes.
Yeah. But I didn't understand why so much stuff was outside either. Like,
I don't know.
It was a little weird. And I felt bad for Hooks because she was surrounded by all the people and the birds. And I felt bad for her. Yeah, it was, I don't know if it was that it was almost a little too realistic.
Yeah, I just didn't like it at all. It was really scary for me. I just didn't find it entertaining.
Yeah.
I did find it funny that, well, two things. Shots are fired in the air, or shots are fired, and Callahan, the blonde, is with a bunch of the cadets. And what did she say? Run! But I don't think it was supposed to be for laughs.
Oh.
Like, I'm like, what? I don't think a police officer would say run.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would. But then I thought it was really funny with that crazy thug.
Yes.
And he's up on the roof, and like that was a lot of suspense there. Did you notice he was wearing a Vassar shirt?
No.
It was a shirt that said Vassar. Oh. Matt and I both noticed that right away. We're like, what? Why is he wearing a Vassar
What
shirt?
I noticed is it seemed like the bullets were going the wrong way into the box that Kim Catrall was hiding behind.
Yeah. I noticed that too. Yeah, not great effects there. And then my last note is, so he has a girlfriend, and now he's about to get a blowjob?
Yeah.
And he seems very happy about that, and alrighty then, I guess that's that. That
was my note 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
I know, I'm just saying, that's my last note. But
I'm like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be, this is supposed to be like the little love story of the movie, and he's about to get a blowjob from a prostitute.
And now we're going to crack up laughing, it's so funny, he's getting blown right now.
No. Yeah, it's weird.
It was weird.
Very weird. And also, God bless, she is a sex worker. I don't know. And also, he knows that she just blew the sergeant.
And he clearly looks at him like, thanks.
A little weird.
Very weird.
And how would the lieutenant even know that it was the hooker after that?
That's right.
How would he hire her?
Good catch. He never saw her.
Very weird. And also, if he sees him kissing Kim Catrall, why would he try and get a hooker for him? Makes no sense.
Yeah, there's
bad,
no regard.
Bad.
No regard at all for the women in this movie.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Any more notes?
No notes.
Budget. $4.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Box office.
Oh no.
Christina, you're
How
sitting,
racist is our country?
Down.
Let's hear it.
Homophobic,
sorry.
$150 million worldwide.
Oh my God.
This was made for $4.5 million. It made $150 million worldwide.
That is unbelievable. I remember it being wildly
six
popular.
sequels. Yeah. So the big question, more,
I wonder.
less, about the same.
I think we both agree it's way less.
So, I can't recommend this. I couldn't recommend this. Are you kidding me?
It's so offensive.
So offensive.
Not funny. Badly acted. I really feel like it is the most offensive movie we have watched.
I mean, and that's saying a lot, Christina.
It is. It's saying a ton. I mean, Ace Ventura was pretty close.
Yeah.
And even like Smokey and the Bandit I found very offensive.
Yes.
But not in the same
well,
way.
And also...
And that was the bad character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was the villain that was being that way.
And Saturday Night Fever was pretty bad.
Yep.
But yeah, this was...
is, because they're really knocking people down for laughs. That's not
That's exactly
great.
right.
Yeah, it's...
So yeah, it's a big thumbs down for me. And
Are you ready for... Oh, a big thumbs down for me. Are you ready for a match game?
I am. I have one as well.
Well, one member of the police academy was actually Dumb Dora. I mean, she fit right in.
Of course she was, yes.
And she was so dumb.
How dumb was she?
When she put someone under arrest, she also made them drink blank. Putting someone under arrest, she made them drink blank.
Alright, well this is a little different. I'm going to write my answer.
Okay. I have a backup if we just get this wrong.
No, that's okay. I have my answer, but I'm going to have to explain why.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to explain mine too. Ding! All right, Dumb Dora was so dumb. When she put someone under arrest, she also made them drink blank.
Warm milk.
Yay! No, but I didn't write that.
Oh.
But I wrote sleepy time tea.
Oh my gosh, so it's similar,
right?
So
the
warm milk because of a
rest.
A mattress, whatever.
Yeah,
oh my God. Okay, good. I'm glad I got where you were very
resting.
Weirdly.
So we're on the same track, but not a match. Oh well.
Okay, so here's my match.
Let's hear it.
So Lieutenant Harris.
Yes.
Was so homophobic.
Oh no, Christina.
He was homophobic.
Oh no.
He was racist.
Oh God.
And he was sexist.
Oh my Lord.
In fact, he was so bad.
How bad was he?
Thank you for asking. Even blank was offended.
All right, I'm taking a chance. I hope this matches. Here we go. Oh God. Ding. All right, here we go. Sorry.
I've never seen you more conflicted.
I know, because I went real life, and but I kept it in 80s, and I hope I didn't miss the mark.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right, here we go.
So Harris was homophobic, racist, sexist, all of those things. He was so bad, even blank was offended.
Andrew Dice Clay!
Oh, that's a good answer.
What did you have?
I went a little different.
Archie Bunker. Hitler.
Donald Trump.
Much more topical and timely.
Yes. But I love that. If we had kept it in the 80s, that would have been, I think I would have done Andrew Dice well.
Whew. Well, wow. I feel like we're going to be mentioning Police Academy for years
to come. It
may
come up once or twice.
Come up in our year-end episode.
It may come up. Possibly.
At the Roomie Awards.
Honestly, I hope it does, because at this point, I can't imagine
watching something more offensive at this point.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's quite an honor.
Experience.
Quite an
honor. All right, and that, friends, was Police Academy.
Yes, it was.
And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.